is slightly too warm for my liking. This is the last time I'm ever staying in the Ritz-Carlton.
I am James ALOFS. I left the big city to build an off-grid homestead on 40 acres of Canadian wilderness. This area of Ontario has giant ridgelines, deep valleys, and pure rivers. Black bears, gray wolves, mountain lions, moose, and many forest spirits share the land. I started in November 2023. Starting with a modest 12 by 16 foot guest cabin, my goal is to build such a glorious homestead that I attract a magnificent wife, have several military-grade babies, and raise our Swiss mountain dog Clovis. Welcome to Wild Homestead.
Near fabrication from beginning to end. Just could be the real thing.
Well, if it's genuine as gold dust. But its topicality makes it suspect.
Smiley is suspicious, Percy.
Where did it come from? What's the access?
A new secret source of mine.
But how could he possibly have access?
He has access to the most sensitive levels of policy making. We've named the operation Witchcraft.
Well, Percy and his pals bypassed our Smiley, gone straight to the minister.
Oh, the good boy. Oh, the good boy. Okay, go.
What are you doing? Yeah, we can't take you in, buddy. We got the tank tracks
In the back seat, so King Clovis, you must stay here and protect the homestead.
So folks, to make this back level here, ended up having to use 1.5 inches of these tar shingles to shimmy this side up, which kind of checks out because when we were doing the floor inside of the cabin, we were actually putting shims underneath our floor to make it level. So I literally used a chunk of cedar 2x6, I remember, on that interior corner to prop up the floor to make it level. And then, you know, we sunk all of our big long lag bolts through the sides of the floor into the bottom log. Because remember, this side of the cabin shifted down during construction because we had insufficient gravel underneath this concrete pier pad. There was basically just a slope like this right underneath of it. I went back, you know, after the building through the first winter, in the summer, I took many ATV cartloads of gravel and filled in all the gaps between the different concrete pier pads underneath the cabin. So I don't think it's gonna move. There we go. Okay, that's level. Ladies and gents, it is a Christmas miracle. We are lining up. We are lining up. We moved it in 3 inches, and it's lining up with the edge there. That is not fun, folks. Do not, do not let the ground freeze and then try to do foundations of any kind. I think it's looking good. So we're gonna have to change how it's connecting to the head log over there, which is fine.
Good morning. Good morning, Circle of Us. Hello. Oh, yes. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, no. Hey, no. What are you doing? Ready, go. Ah. Yes.
Nice. Yes. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, crazy? Oh, nice. That's good. Okay, now it's off by half an inch. So 25% of a half an inch is 1/8 of an inch. So I was watching some, I forget what the channel's called, but it's an old timer guy from the construction industry, and he gives all these general construction tips. And what he was saying about laying out foundations was that if you're within 1/8 of an inch tolerance on the square or in between any of your lines, that's what you should aim for, 1/8 of an inch. So being off by a half an inch on the diagonal means we're off by 1/8 of an inch either on the distance between the beams or the beams like north, south, or east, west. Hey, don't lick the linseed oil. That's weird. What are you doing? Hey. Two more. Whoops. Now that is tasty. Nice. Okay. 144 and a quarter, 144 and a quarter. So it's basically 12 feet exactly. 12 feet exactly. $176 and a quarter by 176 and a half. Nice. So that's less than 1/8 of an inch. Jiminy cricket, more like finicky cricket. Whole point of this entire exercise, redialing in the foundation back here, narrowing the beams. So it's swaying a bit, but it's right on. We want the outer side of this beam lining up with that plumb bob, because that plumb bob goes up to the outer corner of the where the rafters are lining up. So that way the vertical post will be directly beneath our top plates that will be holding up the rafters. So it's the same thing on this other side. We brought in this side by 2 1/4 inches and the other side by 3 inches. Then you can see this one on this side is super dialed as well. superdialed.com/Jackie Chan. And that is going up to the corner of the rafters. You can see up there. So it was super important that we got that done. It's level, it's square. Oh, and then of course, I think this is why I think this is actually a much better foundation, is before we just were going to tack the end of these outside logs down into the logs beneath. But now we have a whole additional support log along here that we're going to put a lot more of the screw bolts into the sill log behind it. So now the two sill logs are joined and we actually have a full-on box, because obviously we're going to have to re-customize the beam back here.
Dude, this bone's way too big. Gotta get you smaller bones. You'll never finish this thing.
Oh, what's this? Where are they? We might have used them all. So sono tonto. Well, look at that. Well, these are 8 inchers. We could temporarily borrow these from our tool rack here. Heck yes, ladies and gents. Now that we got the bathroom addition, I think all dialed in there, before we work on the sauna, finishing off the sauna, there's one more big step we have to take. I don't know if it's too late, if the ground's too frozen or what, but there's a very important thing we need to do, I think, for the functionality of our main build site here. And let's do it right now. No way! Dude! This thing is amazing. Wow. Oh, the snow piles up pretty nicely, actually. Like the cab is completely clear. That's interesting. Whoa. Guys, you know what? I'm pretty sure this is a maple. That's a maple tree. That guy, we should probably try to save. That birch is nice as well. Oi, just got another shrimp on the barbie. Sorry, my Australian accent is horrible. Trap. Trap 1, untouched. Trap 2. Maybe it got a mouse and it flipped onto the ground. What is that? Dudes. Ooh, I'll save you the image, folks, but let's just say that mousetrap did not do a very efficient way of taking out Joseph Gerbils. I thought it would be elated and cracking several jokes, but that's the first mousetrap I've ever set as being a city boy. And, first mouse, but hats off to Joseph Gerbils, man. He was a worthy adversary. I'm glad to see him gone, but his body, nutritious body, will be left deep in the woods so Clovis cannot get him, and the owls can feast upon him. Hats off, Joseph Gerbils. Now, I think we got to keep the traps going because that entry point that Joseph Gerbils is going through is still there. And the other problem is I realized the roof was open for like 2.5 months, when we were waiting for that steel to come in. So if any industrious mouse managed to get up onto the roof, it would be very easy. They could just mosey right on underneath between the steel and the sheathing, right? There's that strapping that raises it off. They could make their way right up to the ridge top where there's that little gap and work their way down into the insulation there. Heated cab, floodlights, praise Odin. Oh ja, ja gerne, wunderbar. Oh, oh. It's hard to see now, but I'll show it to you in the morning. Bro, what a difference. A little chainsawing and just the grapple claws cleaned out this entire little wooded area with just about, 5 hours of work. Incroyable. Incroyable. Good morning. Hello. Hello. Oh. Fire went out long ago. 14 degrees Celsius, 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's minus 24 degrees Celsius outside. So that's pretty good for the fire to be off. Oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. That's the first time it's happened. I'm letting the glow plugs, you know, warm up. The logo, I mean, the little emblem comes off, and usually just starts right up like that. But I guess because it is minus 24, maybe it's the extreme cold. Like maybe I need to get a block heater. I don't think that it came with a block heater. It's on full blast. This little, it's got the fan and a heater. The heater's on full and the fan is on full blast. So I think it's about a 1500 watt heating unit. These are the little heaters we used to cure the concrete on the Forest Gym last December. So still got them. Got to make sure we don't light this thing on fire. But you know, also get it warmed up somehow so that we can actually start this bad boy, because we need to use it to continue the sawmill site prep. It's the beginning of December, and one of my favorite species, the American black bear, is well into hibernation. And you know, I was recently listening to a black bear podcast. It was with the lead black bear biologist in the state of Maine. And the most interesting thing from that conversation I gleaned was what triggers bears, black bears. And I'm sure this is probably true for brown bears. You know, they're found in the western half of North America, but also in Eurasia. Like they've got brown bears over in Sweden, Finland, Russia, you know, northern China, North Korea, probably. Japan, northern Japan. But anyways, what triggers them to go into hibernation? I always thought, oh, it's probably photo period, right? Like the length of day gets to a certain point, and then there's some biological mechanism where they know, okay, now it's time to go to sleep. It's time to hibernate. But no, that's not it. The other thing I maybe thought was, maybe it's temperature, right? The temperature goes below a certain level. It's time to hibernate. No. Primary factor, according to them. Hello, Clovis. Hello, buddy. Hello. He knows we're talking about bears. And the primary factor is really their metabolism when they start going into a calorie deficit. You're in a calorie deficit when the calories you're burning are greater than the calories you're taking in. And you're in a calorie surplus when you're taking in more calories than you're burning. And when you're in a calorie surplus, the key thing for bears is you're adding fat to your body. It realizes, oh my goodness, I've gotten to a point where there's not enough calories on the landscape late in the fall, and I'm not in a calorie surplus,
And if I'm not going to be in a calorie surplus, I might as well go into hibernation, because the next time I'll be able to go into a calorie surplus will be in the spring when the various food sources become available again. So the exact timing of when a black bear is going to hibernate is going to be different every year, because sometimes like there might be a huge bumper acorn harvest from all the oak trees. So maybe the bears will stay awake later and hibernate later. Maybe it won't be until the end of November, maybe early December. But if it's a terrible year for acorns and the blueberry crop didn't come in well and the deer are being wily, whatever it happens to be, and they start going into a calorie deficit earlier on in the fall, they could hibernate in mid to late October. It really, really depends on the calorie availability on the landscape. And I thought that was just a fascinating mechanism that is the primary thing triggering their hibernation. Now, bears, as you go further south, like bears in Florida, in Arkansas, and those kind of places, they may not hibernate at all, or they may hibernate for a much shorter period of time.
Yeah! Yes! Yes! Hallelujah! I don't know if it was, let me take the heater off. So I just checked the contract, the tractor contract. We did not get the block heater, which is a big mistake. I think the next time, we take her in, probably for the 200-hour service. We're already up to 105 hours of operation. Probably get the block heater, because it's like a $50 option. And boy, I think we're really gonna need it. Now somehow, I don't know if it was the heater. We had the heater going for about 10 minutes. I just set my timer for 10 minutes and the thing cranked right over. Who knows, maybe I don't know what exactly did it, but This must be from the old farmers. Looks 7 Up. I have no idea what age this is from. 7 Up. Fresh Up with 7 Up. Content 7 fluid ounces. I wonder what era that's from. Clovis just peed on the side of the truck. Clovis, you dingus. That's not very Swiss-like behavior, you Swiss mountain dog. Morning, governor. Well, folks, can you see now the purpose of all this work is to clear the rest of our meadow. This is going to be the final form of the meadow, and you know, key access being getting to the sawmill. You know, skidding logs in, getting them up on the sawmill, taking the finished lumber off. So yeah, oh my goodness, it looks so different, man. It looks so different. Holy cowabunga. You know, this was definitely needed. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, and we just snuck it in, I think, before the ground got too frozen to get her done. But we really needed to clear the rest of this meadow. I mean, this is going to be basically the final size of the Wild Homestead meadow here, as you can see everything, you know, behind me. But, you know, the tractor barn is going here. The sawmill barn built around the sawmill. We already had the foundations laid out for that. But all this patch of woods was right in front of the sawmill, and it was just not conducive. This maple tree, definitely leave, but a lot of the other stuff was coniferous in here. That birch tree was right in front of where the sawmill was going. But you know, eventually we do, like even these spruce trees behind me, basically it's like you don't want any coniferous trees too close to your house, because coniferous trees are really the trees, you know, pine, spruce, fir, those are the trees that are highly flammable. So deciduous trees are much less so. So having these kind of trees in our meadow is fine. But, you know, I really want to see how the meadow kind of functions this winter, you know, doing forestry stuff and whatnot with the tractor. And then, you know, in the spring, we can start doing, you know, planting trees, I think. I was this close to ordering trees this fall, but decided not to because, you know, got to see how the meadow ends up and where all the buildings are and et cetera. I get a lot of questions about, you know, planting a vegetable garden. Are you going to plant a vegetable garden? And the answer is absolutely not, because I don't eat vegetables. I just don't eat vegetables, you know, it'd be a waste. But I definitely do eat a ton of fruit. So I do want to plant a whole whack of fruit trees, berry bushes, etc., but not until we've got, you know, the final kind of dimensions. I've been debating, there's another tool that came up for sale. My neighbor is selling it, my neighbor who's moving back into town. And I actually consulted you guys on YouTube and on Instagram. I just made a post kind of midweek and sought your advice, but I ended up taking it. I got it for $500 plus $200 for the battery. So I'm going to go pick it up with Clovis now, and we're going to see if we can process this beautiful birchwood we have here. Check it out, guys. Ryobi log splitter, kinetic, electric, runs off the same battery that our earth auger uses, but I did buy the battery that the fellow had. So it's a slightly bigger battery. It's a 6 amp hour battery. Okay, here's a kind of a half log of maple that we split by hand. Let's see how she does. Shazam! I brought over a number of chunks of bigger chunks of maple to try at my neighbor's place, and they all split fine. There's ones where, you know, it's got a giant knot up in the corner, and that one you had to do 2 or 3 times to make it happen. But for the regular maples, it was doing quite nice. Fresh birch. Fresh birch. Let's see how she does. That's a big boy. That is a big boy. Boom! Look at that. Yeah, there wasn't a single bad review on YouTube that I could find. Everyone had like very good things to say about this. One thing I like about it, so it's probably not going to do 20-inch diameter, like super knotty logs. We just don't have a lot of trees that size, you know, in my area. The thing I really like about this is it has a 2-second cycle time. So most of the gas-powered splitters that I was looking at, they had 6, 7, 8, 9 second cycle times. So the cycle time is the time it takes for the head, like once you throw the switch, for the head to go all the way out and then come all the way back in. This is 2 seconds. So you think about a gas-powered, you know, wood splitter. If the cycle time is 7, 8, 9 seconds, that's ridiculous to me. That seems very slow. But I guess the problem with this thing is it's not powerful to do, you know, big logs. But for $500 plus $200 for the battery, this unit in Canada retails for $1,300 brand new. So I thought, man, it's a steal. We'll try it out. I still love splitting by hand. You know, like we split all this by hand this year. But I figure, you know, try it out. Maybe do mix of both hand splitting and using this thing. Whoa! Nice! Well, this one's gnarly. Nice! Yo! Whoa! Bro. I don't think it can do that. Oh! It stopped. It got about halfway there. It's like you hit reset. Nice! Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. Hey, 2 whacks. What a week, guys. We got all the work done, the remaining work on my checklist that we needed to get done before winter, before the ground froze up. You know, we got the bathroom addition. We fixed it, fixed our error, and made it, I think, much beefier. Managed to clear out that little wood lot in front of the sawmill barn, which is going to be critical for the rest of the winter and then also going forward. And the meadow is pretty much at its final dimensions, folks. So I'm excited about that. We took out Joseph Gerbils. Salute to him. He did not go out in a pretty way. I feel bad about that. You know, death is as big a part of life as birth. It is natural. He would take me out if I was threatening his home, I'm sure, if he was capable of. So all is fair in love and war, but we must always try to eliminate unnecessary suffering. Unnecessary suffering is not good. So salute to you, Joseph Gerbils. He's probably being eaten by an owl and continued the circle of life. And thanks for watching. Next week, guys, we got to get that, we got to do the sauna, full court press on finishing this beautiful sauna. Because guess what, folks? It ain't easy crawling into this river when it's minus 24 degrees in December. Strength and honor. May the gods bless you, both the old gods and the new. Best way to support the channel, order WOLFMILK Coffee at wolfmilkcoffee.com. And remember, folks, if you ever have trouble starting up anything at all, your love life, maybe your relationship with your mother-in-law, or a tractor when it's minus 24 degrees Celsius in December, to get it all fired back up, you just need to do two things. One, add a little bit of heat, maybe from an electric heater, maybe a block heater. And then two, utter the following 7 words and 19 syllables. Ooga, booga.